Hello, hello. Welcome to Newbies to Movies. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Justin.
It's a podcast where we like to talk about new movies that we're watching. This week's theme being Marvel. We're going to get into it. The movies are Blade and Spider-Man Brand New Day. So spoilers right at the beginning here. We're going to get right into Brand New Day. So go watch it and then come back to this as we review it. But first to start off, we're going to go over some spotlights that we're going to do with some movies, other movies that we've been watching this week. So Justin, if you want to start.
Yeah, I got to the chance to dive into a small film. I know that's something we've been wanting to do a little bit more on here. So I dove into this film called Middle Life by Pavan Mundi. It's a kind of an indie film. It's a rom-com movie that kind of follows this lady. She is kind of in like a midlife crisis for what you would call it, I guess, but not like the typical one. More that she just doesn't know that the relationship she's in is really good for her anymore. She feels like, kind of stale, just waking up, doing her stuff. And they have a child together, which makes things a lot more interesting. But she kind of runs into this guy at a car accident and, pulls him out of the car and saves his life, basically. He was very injured, very brutal car accident. And it kind of goes from there with them. He wants to buy her dinner and she goes out with them just because it's like, why not? And it kind of goes with both of them kind of realizing that like life is more than just, our day to day, just waking up, doing our jobs, going home. Like they need to spend more playful time together, have a good time and, go on these adventures and side quests. They're from Canada, end up in LA at one point. That was one of the best arcs of the story for me. It was just really deep emotional connection between the both of them as she's going through a divorce at this point in the film. But I thought it was pretty fun. I thought the cinematography was interesting. It was filmed with a really grainy camera, which gave it that kind of handheld or GoPro experience when they were, on these adventures, which was pretty neat. But yeah, I thought it was overall a pretty fun movie. I really enjoyed watching it, and I'm excited to get into more smaller films like this.
Yeah, sounds interesting that we'll probably have to go and check out for sure. Cool. Yeah. So this week I have a couple of shout outs that I'll do this week. I've been really going on like a movie binge of just things that I haven't seen before that have been highly recommended to me. Some movies being on the Criterion collection that I like want to check out as well. So the first one being After Hours. This is a Martin Scorsese movie that came out in the 80s or 70s. I can't remember, between 70s and 80s. But this feels different than most Scorsese movies where like I knew him for like Goodfellas and like the gangster type of movies and The Departed. This just feels totally different. Like a New York City film that represents all different type of styles. And I feel like the Safdie brothers saw this movie and just made their entire style revolved around this type of movie. Justin, I think you would really like this. It's really, really grainy looking, but like super unique, and the plot is super cool. Yeah. I watched The Thin Red Line, one of the saddest, most real war movies I've ever watched. I was like, I had to go for a walk afterwards because I was like, holy crap, this movie is so intense. Really like shows like the depths of what war actually does to people and stuff. And you really like hear into it. Like throughout the movie, you hear narration, but like it's whispering narration into like the film, which is a little different than just normal narration. And you really feel like the distraught feeling of the soldiers. Raising Arizona, I watched by the Coen brothers. The Coen brothers are known for their really good scripts, and this is just another example. This is one of their earlier movies. Young Nicolas Cage showing like he's a really good actor because like he's goofy in this. He's a little funny. And Justin, I think you would also really like this. Since you like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I
Yeah.
think you really like this. Kind of feels like Wes Anderson took some appraisal from this as well, the way it was filmed, some of the running scenes and stuff. Some quick ones. This is Spinal Tap. It's a mockumentary about a band, like a rock band, but it was made in 1984. So kind of like prime time of rock bands, they decided to make a mockumentary of them, and it's really funny. It's a really quick watch too. It was like less than 80 minutes.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's
the
cool.
the Others, horror movie with Nicole Kidman. I was a big fan because it scares you in the way of like creepiness and not like just jump scares. And there's a big twist at the end that I personally didn't really see. And then the last one being Carnage. This one I really didn't see. It was like a bottleneck movie, so it's all set in an apartment between two parents that are constantly they're arguing about their kids that hurt each other. At first it starts with like really civil, but then it becomes super immature, and then like their true sides of each other comes out where they're trying to leave, but somehow they keep getting drawn back into this apartment. And it's an interesting hour and 30 minutes, and it feels like a play of a film. Like it feels like you're watching a play, but it's just done so well. The camera work's really cool, and if the dialogue is just off, then the movie doesn't work, and the acting's so good. So recommend that as well. John C. Riley was really good in it. He was the He was the standout to me.
That's good. I'll have to check that one out. That one sounds interesting too.
Yeah, all these films are super interesting, and that's why I keep checking them out because I see like the description for them, and then I see how well rated they are, and I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna like this, and then I end up liking them to like 4.5 star movies for me. So haven't been disappointed so far with that strategy.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah, we could go over some quick movie news this week since last time we recorded. So Kit Connors was announced as playing Cyclops. What's your opinion on this?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I know Cooper Hoffman was in the running. I know Drew Starkey was in the running. They said, I think it's cool. I mean, I like him as an actor from what I've seen of him. And I like that they're going the young route, right? That we kind of talked about last episode. You're going with these, I would say like not A-list actors, but they're right there. And then, but you also, they're young. You don't have to pay them a ton. So you're not taking all this money away from the budget, which is going to be a huge thing. Hopefully when it comes to these movies. I mean, you're going to be casting, 8 or 9 leads in the X-Men movie. So it can get pricey fast. So yeah, you're going with these young actors that are well known, but hopefully this makes them a huge, household name too.
Like it did for Hugh Jackman at that time as well. Yeah, it's interesting because this is the 4th guy from the Warfare cast, from Alex Garland being casted. So Charles Melton was Beast, and then of course the other 2 have been playing them for a while, or Johnny Storm, and then as well as what's that character called again? Guardian of the Galaxy 3.
Adam Warlock.
Yeah, Adam Warlock.
If you even really want to go there, what's his name is also in Daredevil. He just plays like a normal guy, Michael Gandolfini.
Some people think that he may come back to play something else.
Maybe
because it's kind of like a more known name. I mean,
spoiler. Yeah.
The John Madden movie that I hadn't heard anything about since I first saw a poster like a year ago is getting directly released to Prime. Not a good sign.
Yeah.
Stars Nicolas Cage and Christian Bale, so big names.
Yeah.
And Shane Gillis is in it as well. But
dude, I understand. I don't get why this happens to movies. What happens in this set, process where they get to the end of it and they're like, never mind. Because the same thing's going on right now with the Anthony Bourdain movie. I went to go see it this weekend. I was like, it's not even showing anywhere. There was one showing in DC.
Yeah, it may be a week early. I haven't looked into that one, but yeah, interesting.
But it's just like they keep throwing these movies out. I know I'm not the biggest, fan of it, but people were pissed too. They made a Aang movie from Avatar, The Last Airbender, and that was supposed to be a theatrical release and immediately got sent to Paramount Plus. Everybody was pissed off.
Yeah, it's quite interesting with how good the box office is doing this year. You think, why not just release it and get some money from it, and then release it a week or 2.
Yeah,
the box office is going crazy so far this year.
Yeah, it's doing really well. And I wonder if that has something to do with it, right? Like everything that's out right now, it's just hard to get space, maybe. They have to pay for it. But damn, all 3 of those movies we just talked about, I'd much rather watch than that dumbass movie One Night Only.
All right, you're not a rom-com guy, so they got
not a rom-com guy. What the hell is this? The Purge happened, but they can't have sex with each other?
I mean, I guess so. Yeah.
It's got like really bad reviews.
It has a B+ cinema score, which I was confused by.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is they got to fit the rom-com people somewhere within these all big movies. So I see why that movie fits into it. But yeah. And then Primetime, the trailer came out with Robert Pattinson. That movie looks very interesting. Robert Pattinson looks great. His voice is actually insane in that. Like, sounds exactly like Chris Hansen. And it looks like they're trying to make it out to him. I don't know about the villain, or they're going like a psychological thriller route with it, which
I immediately thought Nightcrawler.
I think so. So I watched a documentary that this is kind of based off of.
Uh-huh.
That was released last year, kind of going into depth about like the criminal parts about what they did and like what it kind of created in the world of like people becoming like their own justice system because there's a lot of copycats nowadays trying to catch people. It's quite an interesting documentary that it's called Predators. If you want to watch it, I recommend it probably before you watch this to understand where they're coming from and to know more about what went wrong and why it was taken off and all that stuff. Because if you walk into it just thinking or just knowing like, oh yeah, Chris Hansen, he just was the host for this show. There's a lot more to it, like the way they did it and everything.
Yeah.
Some not legally okay stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of getting from it. But yeah, I saw somebody talking about it on Twitter. It was like, dude, if they just make this Nightcrawler with Chris Hansen, that would be really interesting. And yeah, Robert Pattinson's like heading towards my GOAT status. I don't know how he is such a chameleon in every movie he's in, but it's like
Yeah.
I sit down and I see him. I'm like, oh, that's Robert Pattinson. And then immediately I'm like, that's not him anymore. Like, that's somebody else.
He's just trying to do whatever he can to like forget, make people forget he was in Twilight. Like,
Yeah, pretty much.
but I think it's gonna be interesting. I just hope they still keep the theme that like the objective of it all was still a good idea and like trying to expose child predators. It's just there's a proper way to go about it and not trying to film it in a way that they did.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
mean, you even see in the trailer how like focused and dedicated he is to the ratings and getting that primetime spot, which is yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's quite interesting. Recommend the documentary because it's going to probably involve some of that stuff, and it gets pretty dark really quick. Cool. All right, yeah. So back to Marvel. So Marvel this week is the theme. I think we've wanted to do this episode ever since we started the podcast because we're both really into Marvel. Marvel movies is kind of like where we really got into movies, I would say. Like we just kept track of that cinematic universe the moment Iron Man came out. It was kind of right as we were growing up. And then we graduated high school right when the culmination of the Infinity Saga came out. So I feel like Marvel's been a pretty crucial part of our movie watching life. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, to be honest, for me, it was when I was growing up and I saw the first Avengers movie, and I was like, damn, like this is everything, all the toys I had as a kid. Like, I get to watch this now. This is like so crazy to me. And then ever since then, I was just keeping up with everything, watching YouTube videos, trying to figure out what their plans were, who was coming next, why Thanos was involved, like all this stuff. Yeah, it was just such a big part of my childhood. And even now today, like, let that inner child live within you still. And yeah, seeing Brand New Day this week was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think I've seen almost every Marvel movie, like probably at least 35 out of 38 of them in theaters.
Yeah.
Because, I just remember seeing Iron Man in theaters and everything since then. And so at the end of this podcast, we're going to like rank all 38 Marvel movies. And like, that wasn't even like a crazy ask from us because we've already seen all of them in a way. So it's like none of us have to rewatch anything I feel like we have a pretty concrete idea. But yeah, getting into it. So the first one is Blade. So this Blade isn't part of the MCU density creation. This first one came out in 98. And when Blade came out and Deadpool Wolverine, he shows back up. So he's technically part of the MCU. I don't know if he's actually going to be part of Doomsday. I wouldn't be surprised. You never really know with the Marvel nowadays. I wouldn't be surprised if Wesley Snipes comes back up. Blade was a project idea for the MCU with Mahershala Ali, but then some controversy this past couple of weeks is that Mahershala Ali said Disney messed up and it's no longer he's going to be in it. And there's no really future plans with the new Blade.
Which kind of sucks, dude, because I mean they were really setting up to adapt Midnight Suns, the team, so well. Especially we just saw Ryan Gosling get cast as Ghost Rider. They already have a Midnight show out. That was exciting for me, but who knows? Maybe they'll bring back a different Blade as part of that team eventually. But
yeah, so that goes right into the 98 version of Blade. Stars Wesley Snipes as Blade himself. Blade was a character created in 1973, but really became popular in the 90s with the Midnight Suns and being a character a part of that. And from that, they created the movie where it follows Blade trying to stop a rogue vampire gang. For this plot, I gave it a 4 out of 10. I think the middle has really bad dragging problems to where it can really keep you disengaged without any action. And I think that's the weakness of this movie is the non-action set pieces for me is because it's like All right, yeah, just put the fries in the bag, bro. I just want to see Blake kill some motherfuckers, like, to be quite honest.
Yeah, it's so funny, dude. We're getting so much better at this because that's exactly what I had to. Really bad pacing in the middle.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I agree. I mean, you want him to just go and fight, but also the whole plot line of him like hiding that he's a vampire from her means nothing to us because we know that he's a vampire. Everybody knows that he's a vampire. And I
Yeah.
imagine most of the people going to see this in theaters in 1998 were also like comic book fans, like, hey, we know he's a vampire already. So it means nothing to us that she doesn't know. It's not like a big talking point. The only real talking point around him is, right, he needs his serum to keep going so he's not drinking other humans' blood.
Hmm.
But that's really it. And they don't really even dive into his backstory with his mom that much, which kind of sucked as well.
Yeah. You know what they show it right at the beginning, and then with the mom, she just pops back up, and then she becomes like a villain for a while, and then Blade does Blade things, and
She was
they kind of
being
use like, yeah,
overly seductive to him, too. It was kind of fucking weird.
yeah, yeah. I feel like that's just like a 90s feel to the movie of like making characters sexual for no reason at all. And it's like, all right. This is also like, again, pre Marvel, before Disney got it. So this is not a kid friendly movie by any means. It's definitely got a way different feel to it. I think they tried like Fantastic Four in the 90s, some other Avengers in like the 80s and stuff. And I guess this is like probably the most commercially successful version of that before the X-Men came out, because like they ended up making two or of these for a reason, because
Yeah.
people are big fans of this. Getting to characters, I think Blade is just a sick character. I gave it a 5 out of 10. Everybody else just not developed enough for me to actually care. Blade is a daywalker vampire that kills vampires, point blank, period. Right when he comes on the screen, you're like, all right, I get it.
Yeah.
For me, I was just like, all right, yeah, I get it. He's pretty freaking sick.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think, yeah, exactly what you're saying. Like, he's a really tough character, and they were so close. Like, he was just getting developed, and then they took it away, and then the end fight scene. Because I forgot his kind of master or his best friend, whatever you want to call it, had cancer and was dying slowly, but he just kept like pushing it away, right? Because he didn't want to feel that connection to anybody, just in case anything ever happened to him. Similar to what we'll see in Spider-Man, right? But they were
Hmm.
so close, and then they just kind of inched away from it. Obviously, when spoiler alert, his master, his best friend, died, but you could see it finally start to connect with him, that he does have that emotion. And I was just hoping for a little bit more out of all these characters, but again, is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. If somebody's clicking on this podcast to listen to a Blade movie from 30 years ago, like, you don't expect a spoiler, then like that's your own problem.
Somebody's in their car right now in the morning. Shit.
Shit. Yeah. Getting into acting, I think Wesley Snipes like commands the screen more than or equal to any character in Marvel history for me. The moment that he came onto it, I was just like, I was locked in, because I was like, oh wow, like like he's got like the niche stare where you're just like, this guy's cooking. And then, but the rest acting, I had to bring it down to 7 out of 10, is because the rest of them are just not giving me anything special. It's
Yeah.
just the fact that Wesley Snipes, I get why it's so iconic, because he is very iconic in that role.
Yeah. Frost was like a really bad villain too. Like, I just did not give a shit at all about that guy. And then he looks at Blade's, the girl that Blade rescue, and he's like, "What you mean, sister?" And I was like, "Oh God, I know it's the 90s, but I was like, don't do that."
That this movie would not be made nowadays because of that dialogue. Like a lot of this dialogue in this movie, I was like, not that, but like some of the other lines,
Yeah.
like you're like ice skating uphill. It's like those kind of lines you just don't hear nowadays. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it was bad. And I mean, just him as a villain, like he was just like a whiny playboy. Like, I don't even know what his deal was. And I have no idea why he has any motivation to do any of this besides being a vampire.
Yeah, he looked like a punk rocker, but as a vampire. Like
Yeah.
that's straight up what his archetype was. He was just a punk rocker. Soundtrack and score. All right, this is gonna be a really hot take, I feel like, because I gave it a 9 out of 10, because this may be the most obnoxious to some, but for me, I think this obnoxious score you hear over every action movie like trailer actually fits this movie so well for me. And I was just like, dude, the whole time I was like, dude, this fucks. Like, I dig this so much with the action sequences.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying. So funny enough, this will mean nothing to you because I know you didn't play it, but I played Marvel Rivals a lot in the past year. And when they added Blade, they added that like techno dubstep song from the beginning to his like finishing move. So you would attack and it's like ba 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 da ba, and you just start going crazy. It was so cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I think some people are just gonna think this is obnoxious, but for me, I was like, all right, this feels one like it's time era,
Hmm.
but like actually fits this movie compared to like an action movie, Jason Bourne, that would like have like doing this type of music, and it's like, all right, this is like a CIA guy. This is not like a vampire killer
Yeah,
doing this stuff. Like at the end of the day, he's killing vampires. Like
yeah.
it's got to be the whole idea is a little bit obnoxious and like kind of out there.
But the shoe fits.
Yeah. Set design, I thought there was some really cool design and makeup. I think the whole first like action sequence, the set design is super cool. Like
Yeah.
blood coming out of the faucets, them attacking, and then he just pulls up like a real G pretty much, and it's just like, what's up? And then and then the music starts, pulls out his fucking sword, and you're like, okay. And
They
then they're like, oh my god.
Speaking to that, I know it's not on set design. They did build his aura really well. Like anytime he entered a room, everybody's like, "God damn it, it's the Daywalker!"
Yeah.
Like every time, everybody's like shitting their pants when they see him.
Yeah.
But the set design was pretty good. I mean, I'll get into a little bit more of it, but I know this movie was just great as shit. That bothered me a little bit. I know in that scene it was kind of cool because everything was like porcelain white room. Weird, like for a club, but then you realize what they're doing. They're like bathing in blood. So that's why it's probably porcelain everywhere. But
Mhm.
yeah, that was a cool set design. I guess you could say the wherever they're doing their sacrifice or whatever at the end was pretty cool, but just plagued by like really bad CGI. And again, it's not the movie's fault. It's just the time.
Yeah. There's a lot worse CGI in the 2000s and
Yeah.
later movies, and even like 2020. So
Yeah.
it's really hard to hate on CGI from that time, which, yeah, from like 30 years ago. Cinematography for me, I gave it 8 out of 10. I thought there was really cool action scenes. Like I like the slow down action. I think it's a little bit more unique compared. I think Brand New Day also has a lot of very cool slow-mo action scenes that I also really like that we'll get into. But I saw a lot of similarity with the action sequence between both movies, which I thought was unique because I think Marvel's problems in the past have been speeding it up to where you don't actually know what's going on. We already talked about the kind of silly CGI moments. It felt very much like the Matrix. Like they saw the Matrix action sequences and they kind of try to copy that kind of look.
Yeah, I feel like every early 2000s movie just tried to be the Matrix, the action ones at least.
Yeah.
The shaky cams were getting to me a little bit in the beginning. I was like, I cannot see a single thing that's going on. This camera's moving so much. But I felt like the action itself was like borderline like early Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies. Like it was just really cheesy at some points. I was like, God damn, I know this is what it is. Like, and the sound effects are throwing me too. You'd hear like a sword slash. It was like I could have done it with my mouth better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. For me, it just works. I don't know. I appreciated it a lot. Editing, this is where I kind of got hit. I hit on it for like dragging a lot. I think, again, getting into like how I thought the action sequences were really cut pretty well. But for me, I just think some of the editing in the middle could just be straight up left out. That may be a plot point as well. I think it can also just be brought into the editing room where
Yeah.
it's like, I don't think some of these sequences really
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, there's just a lot of like filler, I guess. Like they
matter.
really tried to build the tension between Frost and the rest of the Vampire Council, but I just didn't care about either of them. So it was kind of tough to just sit there and watch them bicker about being vampires, I guess. There was no real like motivation for why they needed to go do this big thing.
Yeah. Like every time the Vampire Council came up, I was like, dude, I don't care. Like I actually don't care.
Yeah.
I put Blade back on the screen. But I was 45 minutes into the movie and I was like, okay, I know the last 20 minutes of this movie is going to be sick. And
Yeah.
I look at how much is left, it's hour and 20 and I'm like, all right, what is this going to be filled with?
Yeah.
Like literally just get to the point.
Well, I haven't seen the other two Blades, but to me, you take out those 12 guys that are sitting in a boardroom talking, like they're literally corporate executives for vampires, and you just make it Dracula or something. I think he's in the third one from what I hear. But
Yeah.
you just do Dracula, and it makes it way more interesting, right? Just have Frost be the little bitch boy running, doing the errands for him or something.
Hmm. Yeah.
That would be way more interesting because you have a character that you're building up for the trilogy, and how they got 3 of these made blows my mind.
I haven't watched the other two. I kind of want to just to like finish it off and see where it goes. And I just really like Wesley Snipes playing the role. Directing, I gave it 4 out of 10 because I think all the issues that we're bringing up is a lot of director choices that he makes. And it makes sense why he wasn't signed on to either the other two films. I just think the depth of the film, the pace was off. And I think a lot of director choices that could have changed could have, for me, made this film like bump up like close to like 15, 20 points. But there's a
Yeah.
lot of bad choices that he makes. That's why I'm looking forward to the next one because the next one is Guillermo del Toro, who's like kind of a more of a acclaimed director. I'm not a big fan of like his other works, but I feel like just a better director overall, probably.
He did Blade too?
Yeah,
Oh, maybe I'll check it out then.
yeah.
Hopefully
He
it's
did
got a
it.
better score.
Yeah, he did that and Hellboy, which is he's just really into that dark underworld like feeling to it.
Did he do Blade Trinity or no?
No, not that
Okay.
I saw. I may be off on that, but I'm pretty sure he didn't.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Getting into themes, I give it a 4 out of 10 because it's just like the depth of it isn't really there. It's like good versus bad, but vampires involved. Some sprinkling of family issues and like finding a cure to something that is like kind of a lost hope feel to it, but like he wants to keep that hope alive. But that's like drawing at loose straws for me.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of saying. Just none of the like really serious deep plot points were really drawn out at all. Got to give it a low score there for that.
Yeah. Getting overall into enjoyment, which I'm glad that we took out dialogue to add enjoyment because without that, I think this movie would be scored a lot lower. But enjoyment, I gave it a 9 out of 10. I just think this film is so sick. I had a fun time watching it, except for the middle part. But like the parts that I did have fun, I thought it was cool and had me pretty glued to the screen.
It was fun. Like it was a fun watch overall. Like it was just fun to see kicking ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Simple as that. That's pretty much all I got from this.
Yeah, if you're not into like action movies that involve like vampires or none of this sounds interesting to you, I don't recommend it to you because you probably won't like the film. But if anything like about vampires, a lot of blood and just slow action scenes, this movie's probably directly for you and you would probably like it. So overall, I gave it a 62 out of 100 or 6.2 out of 10. So about like a 3-star movie for me.
Yeah, overall, I gave it a 4.5 or a 45. I think this will be the biggest differential between two movies that we've ever done on an episode for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty quite different. But interesting. Yeah.
I gotta bring up real quick too. Obviously, it's a little bit of a conspiracy theory with Mahershala Ali's Blade that they wanted to get done, and they announced a couple years ago. Ryan Coogler was set to direct. Obviously, the studio had a falling out, and then he went left and made Sinners. And the original Blade movie was supposed to be set in like the early 1920s as well. And from people on the set have said, a lot of the costumes and set designs were actually pulled from the original Blade movie for Sinners, which is really interesting. I don't think it would have been the same movie plot-wise at all, but it is pretty cool to think about Smoke and Stack instead of them it just being Blade. That would be pretty neat.
Yeah. I see because I bet Coogler had like a vampire idea to it,
Yeah.
but then I think what came out of it was just better in the sense of like the story wise was like you had like racial contexts to it that were a lot
Yeah.
more in depth than Sinners. Yeah, I'm interested because like Blade set in the South, that's just not really the character.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But it would
Yeah,
have
who
been
knows?
cool to see. I think what they would have done is like kind of like a Captain America, the First Avenger thing, right? You give Blade his origin story down in the South, maybe doing that kind of thing. And then, you introduce him with like a Midnight Suns type thing years later, bring him into the Ghost Rider movie at the end of the post-credit scene or something like that. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
yeah, it's interesting. I guess we'll never know, but hopefully he gets brought back because he is a huge character for a lot of people. I'd argue probably
yeah.
in a lot of people's top 10 favorite characters.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because of these movies too. Like this is a big like following, like these three movies, like this franchise, just because I think what Snipes was really just like brought the aura for it
Hmm.
itself. I forget because I looked up like who was supposed to play the character, but then like the director and like casting choice was the one, but so Wesley Snipes are like, nah, it's not even close. I think Will Smith may have want to played it, and they're like, I'm sorry, but Snipes just like brings the aura for the role that no one
Yeah.
else can.
It would make sense if Will Smith did and then went on to do Legend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So yeah, getting going from that to like an MCU proper movie and the newest selection out there for it from the Marvel Disney or Marvel Cinematic Universe, brand Spider-Man Brand New Day. So Justin, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, real quick too, obviously again, spoilers if you haven't seen the movie yet, just pause it, come back to this spot, because we will be diving completely into everything in this movie. So yeah, go see it. It's a great watch. And real quick, I heard they were bringing it into IMAX. They were taking the Odyssey out early for Spider-Man to come into IMAX, so that's pretty cool.
Makes sense with how much money it's making.
Yeah,
They're trying to hype up Avengers as much as possible too.
yeah,
Yeah, Spider-Man's on track to make like $2 billion, which is kind of crazy. I thought it was gonna make a lot of money. I thought it was gonna make for sure $1 billion.
yeah,
I did not predict $2 billion. I was
yeah.
like, oh wow.
It's like the stars aligned, dude. Everybody I
Yeah.
know was like trying to go see this movie. But yeah, obviously, we watched the Home trilogy, so set 4 years after No Way Home. The isolated Peter Parker kind of works full time as Spider-Man, right? He has no life outside of being Spider-Man, and the world has obviously forgotten who Peter Parker is. So he's really struggling with loneliness, and his body kind of starts to turn into a spider, weird enough. He's mutating a lot, and he's fighting against who we find out later in the film is Jean Grey, and the Department of Damage Control kind of forces Peter to cross paths with a couple different MCU heroes we know, Punisher, Bruce Banner, and Florence Pugh's Yelena. Yeah, this movie, I really like the plot. I know I kind of didn't explain it well, but this movie's plot is all over the place. There's so many diverging sections in the best way possible. It's never hard to keep up with. It's just a lot going on, and it really gives that anxiety to Peter's character, right? With this mutation he's going through. It's obviously a lot of mental stress and mental focus, which I thought was just done so well in this film. But what do you think?
Yeah, no, I really like the story because the complaint about Tom Holland Spider-Man has been that it hasn't been street level. He hasn't had to like defeat like a local robber or anything like that. And then the movie literally starts off with a time jump, but then literally him wrapping up a robber and giving you iconic comic scenes and comic covers as it. And if you're a comic book fan, which most people are, they're going to go see this movie, then you just love that right away. And then it cuts into like, as Yelena explained in the movie, it's like, oh, we care about the big stuff as Avengers, but you care about little stuff. You take care of the little stuff in New York, and this fits this perfectly because that's what he does. Takes care of the little things. They don't know what Jean Grey. There, right, cat's out of the bag. Sadie Sink plays Jean Grey. She plays the villain of this movie, which I think is quite an interesting character choice that I think only works because of the emotional depth behind her character, and because she's like a really big like hero in the Marvel like universe, like in all comics. Like she's like one of the biggest X-Men, but she has a villain side to her also in it, but that's not even part of this movie. This is more of an emotional villain to it because of her sister. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously in the comics, she does some bad stuff sometimes, but do you think she's redeemable enough, like, to go into the next X-Men movie and be like, she's okay? Because, like, I mean, she walked like an elderly guy into oncoming traffic. She
Yeah.
absolutely destroyed Peter with being inside MJ and acting like he remembered her or she remembered him. Like, that was messed up, dude. I was like, I hate this chick.
Yes, but a lot of X-Men characters, and specifically
Yeah.
her, are like all over the like Wolverine too. Like he does a lot of bad stuff that is not okay for normal heroes. A lot of them are kind of anti-heroes to where they aren't perfect and they because they don't know how to react to what the power that they have.
Yeah.
And their emotions get the best of them, and that's like the whole point of them joining together and why Professor X takes them in. And
Yeah.
so I think the X-Men movie is gonna make it fix her kind of as a character. I think where they bring her in and it's kind of like knowing how to use her powers, and then the Phoenix power comes in and just messes that all up because she's actually like alpha level mutant
Yeah.
or a omega level, and just kill literally everybody.
Yeah. Kind of cool too. I saw somebody say this week, 10 years ago, if you would have told everybody that who's in this movie, they would have flipped out. So you had Bruce Banner, which is from Universal, technically still owns him. You had an X-Men from Jean Grey and the Fox universe. You also had Punisher from Marvel's Netflix series. And then
Yeah,
you had Spider-Man ran by Sony. And then you have somebody like Yelena, who is actually a Disney character, which
yeah.
is just crazy to think about how they've reached into all these different subsections of Marvel and put it out in such a great story.
Yeah, to compare it to No Way Home, the last Spider-Man movie, where that movie was very good, but it felt very rushed at the time because of COVID and all that. Another great movie that was able to bring in different characters into it. I think this movie does it a lot more effectively for me. I think that was like the biggest scare coming into it was there's too many heroes involved. Like this is too much. But then it fits so well. The first live action like film sequence for the Punisher since it's his own movie that was horrible. So it was good for him to redeem himself on feature film.
Yeah, I think I remember texting you like when they were announcing all these cameos that were going to be in the movie, and I was like, what does Yelena have to do with any of this? But it was just like so perfectly executed by bringing in everybody there had a purpose. Nobody was just there
Mm,
to be there. There was a distinct purpose for every character in this film, which I thought was really amazing. Besides like the intro, right? Like I'm kind of heartbroken that like somebody like Tombstone and the Hand kind of got like underutilized. But again, you can't just use all these characters. If you try to do that, that's when you get Spider-Man 2 or The Amazing Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 3, where it's just really
yeah,
overcrowded for no reason.
yeah, yeah. No, it's like you're paying homage to it, like even the Scorpion, because you like set it up all the way back in like Spider-Man Homecoming. But you can't. These are like I would say B to C tier villains that you can't necessarily like bring all out. While this film is supposed to be centered around him himself
Yeah.
becoming like a full Spider-Man and like really just owning up who he is.
Yeah, for sure. Getting in the cinematography, I was really nervous about this coming into. A lot of the trailers looked really gray, and I think that they, no pun intended, I think they went back and fixed a lot of it because it looked really amazing, and I just saw it in the regular screen. I'm not even in IMAX, but that killed me during this movie. I was like, I'm not taking points off for this, but I was like, damn, I wish I could be watching this in IMAX right now because it looks so good. It was such a textured New York City. It felt so lived in compared to a lot of the other movies that we've seen. And then obviously, dude, just the swinging scenes were so well done and so amazing to see. It was just a really, really good looking movie.
Yeah, I think it was some of the best swinging that didn't look CGI as CGI since like The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because like that one was really called out for how well the swinging was, and I think this one felt very real. Like it felt like a 4 year experience Spider-Man that just was going street level 4 years, and then it cuts to him like getting like learning that he has his own webs and like trying to solve that out while learning how to do it a one way. And I thought that was like so cool to see the differences in between both.
Yeah. And I mean, what you're talking about too is like, I don't want to go on a tangent here because we're in cinematography, but the character storyline of him being like this science kid, right? And brought up by Tony Stark, being like, there's a fix for anything when it comes to technology. And so him trying to just like suppress all these genetics that are changing in him rather than embracing it. And like that theme really getting played out to the end of the movie was just such a cool idea, right? Because he's so coded to like just fix any problem with technology. And then he realizes like, oh, maybe I should be more of who I am supposed to be rather than trying to solve these problems that don't need fixed.
Yeah. And like, and then also like part of it's like not living in the past anymore. You have to move on. He was like living his life through his old friends that he
Yeah.
purposely tried to like, where he literally asked Doctor Strange for them to forget him. And yeah,
Yeah, it was just so well done. Kind of getting into that too, set design, like we talked about, the really shifted away from the heavy cosmic and multiverse backdrops and leaned into that grounded, tactile city environment. I know you didn't watch, or maybe not all of Daredevil, but if both of them did a really good job at really showing New York for like this small scale. Obviously, New York's such a big city, but it really dives into like a small scale feel. You see the little restaurants on the side. You see him really taking on that role of, like you said, a small scale like street hero, which is so cool to see. And I think New York followed behind him pretty closely with that as well.
Yeah, like the hand scenes are like that set design, like the cool shots of that cinematography and the set design of that is just so unique and like I don't know, just sick, man.
Yeah. Acting, I gave it an 8. I thought it was really great acting, even from the cameos. Specifically, John Bernthal stood out a lot to me. I know every character he plays ever is just the Punisher, but he did a really good job. And I think some of the best, most funny scenes were between him and Peter, right? In this movie, their banter, you could really tell how good of friends they are off the screen, just going
Yeah,
back and forth. And I saw you napping, motherfucker.
yeah, yeah. He was definitely napping, but I think this was the best by Tom Holland in any of the Spider-Man movies by
Yeah.
far. Like he really stood out to me. Like I think he filmed this after the Odyssey. I can't remember which one he
Yeah.
did, which order, but I feel like he took some lessons from that and just like really showed it in this movie. He's got to be the star of of July, like doing Odyssey and this and being like the star of Spider-Man, obviously, but then the second in the Odyssey as well, like Tom Holland, star of July 2026.
No, not even that. I read a lot of press articles, and he talked about it too with all the press he's been doing this month. He basically came back from the Odyssey and started yelling at all the directors and producers to start rewriting the shit and take it way more seriously than they originally were. Originally, the plot, from what he said, wasn't that exciting or great. And he brought back a lot from the Odyssey and started going crazy and took a huge role. I think he was credited as a producer on this film, too. He took a huge role in the actual design of this film as well, which is really cool to see from a young actor like this.
Yeah. Yeah, he's still super young. He's still in his 20s, which is kind of crazy because I feel like because he's been playing Spider-Man since he's 19.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, "Oh, how many more does he have left in him?" I feel like he's got two more. I think he's going to do one more on his own, and then he's going to do one like kind of handing it off to Miles Morales if I had to take a guess, because I feel like that's coming as well.
Yeah, I think that's the question that's been running in my head too, right? Like, I guess my question would be, do you introduce Miles in the sixth one if you do that? Or do you hint at Miles in the sixth one? And then a lot of the stories in the comics is where Peter Parker dies and then Miles takes over.
Yeah.
So which one would kind of be more effective? But we just seen too in I don't know if, I know you haven't played it, but the Spider-Man games on PS5, they kind of work together for a while, right? Those two
Yeah.
characters, which is also really cool to see. So maybe in that sixth one, you do that instead, but we'll see. We'll see where they go from here.
Yeah. It'd be interesting. It said the end credit says Spider-Man will return. It's not confirmed if it's for Doomsday or not. It could be like an Infinity War in-game thing where they did with like Hawkeye, for example, and some other characters, like where he doesn't show up till Secret Wars in some fashion. Because again, Yelena was like, we care about big stuff, you care about little stuff, and he's been kind of stuck like this. And I think he's still trying to find like his social life as well. So right after this, maybe he just doesn't check into like the big space battle because that's just like not what he's been worried about.
Yeah, if I had to go after a theory, I think it's going to be Secret Wars, strictly because obviously we know we're going to get Battle World after Doomsday. And so Doom is probably going to emphasize on keeping all the heroes that are fighting him in Doomsday pretty close eye on them, right, on Battleworld, because he doesn't want them fighting back. But somebody like Spider-Man, somebody like Doctor Strange, and some other characters like the Young Avengers who have been brought up, Doom might not see them directly as a threat because he doesn't know much about them. So I feel like they'll play a bigger role in Secret Wars and getting off of Battleworld, while the main Avengers and X-Men that we see in Doomsday might kind of get the back seat just because this is their movie, and then the rest of the cast will really get the second movie. But that's just theory.
Yeah, there's a lot of theories out for both movies.
Yeah.
I think Marvel's doing a really good job, like they did with Infinity War and Endgame, and just keeping a tight ship.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody's going to spoil it, it's probably going to be Tom Holland. So they just gotta keep him close to the chest because he likes to spoil a lot of stuff.
And then directing, I gave it a 10. Directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, known for his work in Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings, as well as Wonder Man. Super disappointed this week to find out that Wonder Man Season 2 was canceled. Genuinely, I think it's because Spider-Man did so good. They're like, yeah, you just need to keep this. Like, I don't see anybody else directing Spider-Man 5 if this is going to be one of the highest grossing movies of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be back. I know he is also directing a Naruto film right now, so he's probably going to be heavily focused on that, but I definitely see them wanting to hit the ground running and the next year with Spider-Man 5, so definitely excited for that.
Yeah, that's interesting that you bring up Naruto because like a lot of the action sets like look a lot like Shang-Chi, and then like you bring it into Naruto, I feel like it's gonna just looks probably really cool. And like he's really good at those kind of action set pieces.
Yeah, super anime coded in all the fight scenes in this movie, which is so cool to see. And also how much they took. You see like side by side videos of the PS5 game on TikTok of just like the side by side of movie to game, and they took so much from it, which is so cool.
Yeah, dude, I'm so glad they finally moved on from John Watts. Just like that type of directing style. I like the other movies, like I really do. It's just kind of cringy and like cliche at some points, and that this movie like felt like a comic book kind of like cliche instead of like a Marvel MCU cliche, if that makes sense at all. You know what I mean?
For sure. Historically bad tweet by John Watts after at the end of No Way Home. He tweeted out, I think he was a little bit butthurt he didn't get Spider-Man 4, but he basically tweeted out and said, yeah, that actually having actors swing on ropes doesn't actually look that great. So yeah, that shit did look great.
Yeah, when you have like a trained ballet actor playing Peter Parker, like you should probably let him like do some of his stuff where other actors cannot do it, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry, but Tobey Maguire, all respect, no way he was doing that stuff.
And then getting into soundtrack, absolute 10 here. I could have a couple needle drops of the week. Obviously, when Loser by Tame Impala came on, that song skyrocketed up the charts again this week. Also had Bad Bunny and Steve Lacy at the end. That song was amazing too. Perfect Use. I sent you a video of Destin Daniel Craig talking about it this week. Just how important it was to actually have music that the characters would be listening to at this time in New York. It's as simple as that. I think you make any movie soundtrack perfect if you just do that. I think it's just as simple as literally what they would be listening to at this time in the movie. So yeah. 10.
I don't think that you bring up such a good point to where like a lot of nostalgic movies that I like from like the 80s, 90s, 2000s, even 2010s use the music from that time.
Yeah.
And I feel like some people just overthink it nowadays and just use the music from now. Like there's a reason why the music is so popular now with different genres. Like use it. And I just feel like it's really underappreciated. And then right at the start of this movie, you're like, oh wow, like this movie, some of these songs came out like less than a year ago. Like Bad Bunny won a Grammy for that album.
Yeah.
Like so, it's pretty cool.
And yeah, such a good use of like they showed you can do any genre too. It doesn't have to be like limited to one genre either.
Yeah,
you had 3 huge artists, 3 different genres, and there was more I didn't even mention. But yeah, just super well done. And I feel like that was the thing that took the least amount of work besides just buying the rights to use the songs.
Yeah, exactly.
Theme, I gave it a 10. I thought the themes in this movie were more drawn out than any Spider-Man movie I've probably ever seen. I mean, we can get into the animated one and debate that, but live action at least, for sure. Just the idea of profound isolation within Peter, obviously after the loss of his Aunt May, but also the loss of, his mentor, Tony Stark. And then kind of the heavy burden of sacrifice, right? So he's just sacrificing his whole life to be Spider-Man for the city and not having a life outside of that. Just kind of trying to rebuild his own personal identity after losing everything, right? He has no more friends anymore. Nobody he can really rely on. The closest friend we see in the beginning is the police commissioner, and they can't even talk to each other face to face. I think one other thing, and this is like such a subtle knock, but I need to see Peter in the next movie really struggling to manage money and finances. I know he doesn't have an actual job in this movie, which is kind of crazy. Like, let me see, just give me a 5-minute scene about him barely being able to afford rent or something,
Yeah.
Like, kind of like they did it with Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Just dive into that a little bit in the next movie. It doesn't even have to be a huge plot point. Just show the struggle of this being his full-time job a little bit. I'd say that would be one thing I'd say add, but even then, you have so many themes going on in this movie. I understand why you had to leave at least one out like that.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I guess that could be like a plot or if you want to say like how does he afford all this kind of stuff? But he was just trained by like one of the smartest people of all time in the universe of Tony Stark. So like I'm sure he knows some coding stuff to steal some money. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, not only that, like even when Tony Stark met him, he was already super resourceful. I mean, he was bringing home new tech every day, like just
Yeah,
super trashy stuff and turning it into gold for himself, basically.
yeah. And some people like also say like, oh, a New York apartment costs this much, and it's like, dude, in this universe, New York has been through it. Who wants to live there?
Yeah.
Like they've been attacked how many times? Like in Thunderbolts, a little month later, like half the place just like goes through trauma. They're probably in like a like a psycho center, like trying to analyze like their brains. Like
Yeah,
so,
I know too. It's like, I'd say it's like too easy in the cop out answer, but real world, if we had a Spider-Man flying around New York City, the mayor or somebody's giving him like 10% of their salary, right? Like for what he does.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
but I guess at what point do you kind of get into like, well, does the city like him helping or do they not like him, right? Because then you see like Batman, a lot of the city's kind of like, oh, he's not a good person. So you have to dive into all that. But yeah, give me something where he's like delivering pizzas or something like we saw.
yeah,
Editing, I gave it an 8. I think it was cut really well. I felt interested the whole time and never really a dull moment. This movie was really long and it didn't feel that way. I was, if anything, wanting a little bit more. I was just like, come on, let me stay around. Let me see more of him, fighting these small scale villains too. That would have been cool.
yeah. I think that speaks to like the whole MCU as a whole. Whenever like a really good MCU movie is, it never feels long enough, even though they're usually all over 2 hours.
Yeah.
You always want to stay in that world, and that's what makes you look so forward to the next movie because you're just like, oh, dude, this is like so sick. It makes you feel like you're in a different place,
Hmm.
which is like the whole point of books in the first place, and the whole point of like superhero movies. And this movie really brings that back out to it, and it's like makes you like feel back to like that 2018, 2016 feel of like, holy crap, like Marvel's back. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like they did their job. I'm super psyched for Avengers Doomsday because of this film.
Yeah, me too. I'm worried about Doomsday in the sense of like, I hope they don't mess this up. I hope it doesn't get too crowded. I hope it doesn't get nuts. But then I start looking back. I'm like, well, what was their last 3 movies? You had Brand New Day, you had Fantastic Four, and Thunderbolts, which I all enjoyed really well.
Yeah.
So the hope's there. Hope's alive. Overall enjoyment, I gave this 10. I Want to Be Spider-Man. Felt so real, felt so lived in compared to the Home trilogy. Just really amazing work all around, and box office is showing it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's quite a spoiler from last week when we do the ranking of the Spider-Man rankings that we both really like this. I also gave it a 10. I really like this Spider-Man. I'm going to probably rewatch this a bunch of times just because it's truly peak. I think it's the best live action Spider-Man in my opinion. And I also like before this, I think Tom Holland already was my Spider-Man because it was like more so identified with him more at that age of my life, and I still think he just confirmed it for me. Like he is my Spider-Man out of the three by far.
Yeah. Dude, we just got through this whole review. It didn't even mention Ned or MJ, but those plot lines were really amazing and well done too. I was
Yeah,
really worried about going into this movie, how that would be between them. A lot of people think like, okay, just move past those characters, give Peter a new love interest, give him a new friends, introduce Harry Osborn or whatever. But I really did like how they did it here. Him kind of getting a glimpse of what it is to be friends with them again, but obviously it'll never be the same, right? Everything that happened, really great work by that and that standard as well.
yeah. It's quite interesting because to bring up like, oh, why isn't Harry Osborn being like brought up or anything? He knows who like Norm Osborn is
That's
because
the
he
tough
literally tried
part.
to kill him.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's like he like, and then Toby literally tells him like, "Oh yeah, my best friend tried to kill me," and then same with Andrew Garfield. So it's like he knows what's gonna happen. So
yeah,
like, why would he not avoid this?
yeah. Now they have to walk on such thin ice now, right? Because Electro, the Lizard, Dr. Octavius, just any villain now comes up and he's going to be like, oh, wait, maybe I already know how to cure you, right?
Yeah,
That's another big part of it is like, can you really do those guys again with Tom?
the good thing about Spider-Man is he's got one of the craziest rogue like villain rogues of all
Yeah.
time. So it's like you could pull anybody.
For real, we could never see Scorpion again, and you'd still have Spider-Man. Like you could pull
Yeah,
anyone and take it out, and you would be like, it's okay.
yeah, exactly. And we barely talked about Sadie Sink too as like Jean
No.
Grey, and she was great. Like a lot, I get the casting. One, she looks a lot like her, like the red hair and all that. But then like her aura in the scenes, I think she brings a certain like depth to that, like the villain role that we haven't seen in a while from a villain that I really liked as well.
Can we talk about how on site it is gonna be when Magneto finds out Peter made the inhibitor chips?
Yeah, everyone was like, "Oh,
He's screwed.
yeah." That's going to be quite interesting because like Ruffalo or like the Hulk brings it up, Bruce Banner brings it up throughout it of like inhibiting like that's a really deep thing that you're talking about. It's like taking away a whole thing, and it's like we barely even know who the mutants are, and you're already bringing up like stuff that the Sentinels could use to like control.
Yeah, I don't see a world in which Damage Control didn't grab one of those and or at least make a copy of it when he put it on Jean.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just show me a little bit of his guilt when he finds out later on what's going to happen to them.
yeah, yeah. It'd be quite interesting.
Cool. Yeah, overall, I gave it a 9.0 out of 10 or a 90. Definitely one of my highest ranked MCU films of all time. And is it recency bias? 100%. But am I ready to watch it again? Yeah, great movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I gave it a 9.2 out of 10, 92 out of 100. I really enjoyed this film. Also one of my higher ranking MCU films. Yeah, really fun watch that I'll probably rewatch at least 2 times before Doomsday. Even though not many of the characters are going to be in it, so
Yeah.
I'm still going to watch it.
I think this movie over time too will be like the most rewatchable Spider-Man. Genuinely, it's like the most fun, but also the most like tormenting and like, such deep and profound themes. I think it'll just be the most enjoyable to go back to for me anytime.
Yeah.
Not at all comparing it to, but Homecoming was that Spider-Man movie for me. Homecoming I could just turn on and watch because it was like a fun watch. But this is like both, right? This is like a really deep movie and a fun watch, which is just, yeah, kind of brought the best of both worlds. Kind of brought the best of all three Spider-Mans that we've seen, in my opinion. Obviously,
Yeah.
they were intentionally doing that with the suit as well. The suit looked so sick, this whole
Yeah.
movie. Yeah, just really, really great movie.
Yeah. And then like his eyes going black as well. Like super cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. All right. So our ending exercise this week is going to be quite a doozy of one. We're going to rank all 38 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. So there are 38 movies. This is kind of a practice after Spider-Man, but also before Doomsday. We say how good Spider-Man's been doing. I feel like Marvel's always got that in their bag. Spider-Man is one of the most dependable characters. If they hit with Doomsday again, it's going to be like peak excitement that it was with Infinity War, I feel like. But if it sucks, it could be where everybody's like, "Yep, we knew it. Marvel's done. Yep, we knew it." Like all the haters are going to be coming out. So
Yeah.
a lot is still writing on in December. So how we're going to do this is pretty similar to how we did the Spider-Man one, where we just pretty much go every other pick. I'm leading up to number one. Justin, do you really care where you go?
I don't care. I'm sorry I'm kind of out of it right now. I shit you not. I just got signed out of Letterboxd, and that's where I had my whole list. Hold on a second.
Hopefully you remember your password.
I don't, but I'm going to email it.
If anything, I can try to pull it up too, but kind of getting rid of the whole excitement.
What's happening here? I was just on it like 10 minutes ago.
It does that a lot. So from my experience with it, I don't know why it signs out a lot.
Sent an email link and it's saying error requesting. I might need to take a screenshot of my list.
Okay.
Text it to me.
All right. Yeah, technical difficulty. Oh, I just got a sign in error too. Is Letterboxd down?
Shit, it might be down.
Definitely cutting this part out.
Yeah, it's been down since 9 a.m. Damn it.
Damn.
1,000
All right,
reports in the last hour.
well,
All right.
You know what that means? Doing it live.
Free balling.
I think I can still look up stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I can still look up stuff. You just can't look up your own list. So I still got the MCU in front of me. Do you care which pick you get? 38 or
I don't.
I'll just start off the bat. I'm pretty sure my 38 one, if I remember right, is Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania.
Hell yeah.
Not a good movie. Peak of like you could tell Marvel was rushing their shit. Kevin Feige decided to take a back burner to everything, and you could tell with this film sets up a big villain that Marvel didn't really think about, and is not the plan anymore, obviously.
Yeah. Number 37, I'm going to go with the Marvels. I haven't seen this, so I'm basically going off of what everybody else is saying. I heard it's really rushed. It's a tough watch from what I hear, but yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think the Marvels is not like a great one, but I would definitely have it higher than 37. I just think just because Nexus for me is Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't go over it. We both have 2 vetoes each. I should highly doubt that we're going to use it this low unless something really happens that we're like, all right, no,
Yeah. I'm going to go with Thor: The Dark World.
back to back Thor.
What is Thor doing, man?
Yeah, I agree with this ranking. Like the villain is just a
Boring
nothing
movie.
burger for me. Yeah, easily one of the most boring ones. Ooh, all right. Where do we go from here? Oh, Captain America: Brave New World is here for me.
Yeah. I like this movie a little bit higher than this, but I understand that this movie was super rushed and it feels that way when the making too, kind of similar to Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. It seems like a nightmare of a set they were trying to build. I'm going to go ahead and get Eternals out of the way. I don't hate this movie as much as most people, but it was a lot. I think this movie had an overcrowding problem. A lot of characters, a lot of big actors they tried to work in, and it just got really messy really fast. I do like the characters of the Eternals, and I hope that they can come up with some other plans to kind of work them into the MCU in the future. I hope they don't just absolutely trash it, but yeah.
Yeah, I think there's some really good parts to Eternals, but I think the movie as a whole is a miss for me. Even though I think I like it a little bit above average than most Marvel fans, but I think it sits right around
Yeah.
for this list. I think this next one, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Let's go Iron Man 3.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think the weakest one of the Iron Man by far. I think the multi-suit idea at the end of the film is so cool,
Mm-hmm.
but like the villain is such a nothing burger for me as well. Not
See,
very memorable.
I like Aldrich Killian. I think it's interesting to make him the Mandarin, right? Because he is the epitome of what the Mandarin is, right? He's like a super racist, like really just being a terrorist. And
Yeah,
at the beginning you get the Mandarin and you see him as like, well, he's like a terrorist, but actually this guy's the terrorist and he blends into everyday life. I think that was kind of cool, but I think the movie has some pacing issues too.
cool. It's your pick now.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and go Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Same issue as Brave New World, Quantumania. I think this movie is just a mess, and I think it was a lot of production issues
Yeah,
going on behind the scenes. Obviously directed by Sam Raimi, but it just got really hectic really fast. And I think this movie was one of the first ones you were like, damn, I really had to watch 3 different shows to kind of like understand what's going on here.
yeah. Yeah, I had to watch different shows to understand going into it, but also like the writers changing, and they didn't let Sam Raimi do his thing. I think like they made him hold back because like he's a horror guy. Like if you're gonna hire a horror guy, obviously he did the Spider-Man ones, but he wanted to make this a horror movie. Just do it. Like just go all in. Like don't try to half do it. Gave us like one of the funniest fan castings of John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, just to replace him 2 years later.
Yeah,
Oh, number 30. Yeah, I feel like I gotta do it here. Ant-Man and the Wasp.
that's fair.
After to be honest, most of the Ant-Man movies I'm not a big fan of, but the Ant-Man and the Wasp, I really just am not the biggest fan of. Ghost ends up coming back though in the Thunderbolts, and I actually like her character a lot because Ant-Man and the Wasp sets her up well, but in Thunderbolts, I really like her playing along to like the different themes in Thunderbolts.
Yeah, I'm going to take a 29. I'm going to take The Incredible Hulk. I don't mind this movie. It just got a little bit messy. Obviously, they ended up bringing every other goddamn character back for Captain America Brave New World, or should I say Hulk 2. But yeah, it was just, really early in Marvel's career. So, like, not a lot of money being dumped into this. Obviously, Edward Norton was Hulk, and then they recast Mark Ruffalo. But this was, for what it is, a huge backbone of the MCU at the end of the day. So,
Yeah. Yeah, Edward Norton, I heard like the whole set issues and all that. For all the issues I hear about on set for this movie, I don't think it's actually that bad of a movie. It just
yeah.
does not fit into what the MCU is at all, especially the beginning days. Feels like an oddball of a movie. Number 28, I'm gonna put Thor, the original one.
Yeah.
I think this is also just a boring movie. I appreciate it because it actually sets up the character for you to care about him coming into Avengers. Because if he just shows up in Avengers, you're like, all right, cool. But at least it sets it up in that way. It brings Natalie Portman's character as well, which, yeah.
Yeah. Number 27, I'm going to go Captain Marvel. It was a decent movie. I liked how this came out before Infinity War to kind of set up her coming in Endgame. Or no, it came out in between, right? Infinity War,
Mhm.
Captain Marvel, Endgame. Yeah. To kind of set up her coming in Endgame to kind of help everybody out and save the day. I think it was a good origin story. Obviously, it was a lot of building of the character, just a little slow at points. And, yeah.
Yeah. Nah, it's $1 billion movie, and I think it's based mainly on the fact that for the hype that was in between Infinity War and Endgame, because the Marvels did not make even close to $1 billion.
Yeah.
All right. Next, I think this is time for Black Widow to be at. Other than like the really bad CGI scene at the end of the movie, I actually really like what they do in this movie. I like Yelena. I like the Red Guardian. I like the family parts of it. You get this part of like Black Widow that you don't see in a lot of other movies. I like giving a little bit of origin story. At first, I was like, dude, this makes no sense. She's dead. But then, like, for me, it kind of worked. I don't know.
Yeah, I did really like this movie. I think I might have it a little bit higher, like maybe in the teens, but I was higher on it than most coming out of it. I think it introduced a lot of good characters into the MCU too. I just really dislike what they did to Taskmaster.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then what they do at the beginning of Thunderbolts
Yeah.
kind of redeems that for me because it's like, all right, yeah, there we go.
25, I'm going to go Iron Man 2. It wasn't as good as Iron Man 1. I think it gets a little repetitive. Obviously, he's facing whiplash, and that's kind of fun. But yeah, coming off the back of this was right before Avengers, right? So yeah, I mean, it was kind of building to that, but just didn't quite do it for me.
Yeah. So it was like Iron Man, Hulk, Iron Man 2, and then Thor, and then Captain America, then the Avengers.
Yeah.
Ooh, all right. So next for me, I think I'm going to go Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
Really sick soundtrack to this film, like most like the other Black Panther movie. I think it really did well with Chadwick Boseman's like passing, as good as you can do,
Hmm.
you know, where you cast a character to like play him for multiple films, but life happens. And I think they really like do his character well. It'd be interesting because David Johnson just got recasted for Black Panther 3. So we're going to see what happens in Doomsday and Secret Wars before that.
Yeah. I think Namor was a pretty big standout for me in this movie. I really enjoyed his character. I know some people weren't the biggest fans, but I think he's going to play a pretty decent role in Doomsday as well, which should be cool. I'm excited to see.
Yeah, it looks like he will. Angela Bassett was crazy in that movie as well. And then, yeah, Namor was just like straight aura farming the whole.
Yeah. 23, I'm going to go Ant-Man. Yeah. It was a good movie. It was fun to watch. Some really funny moments in this. I honestly, I just don't care as much about Ant-Man as I do as a lot of the other heroes, but it was a good movie.
Yeah, this is not an incredibly rewatching film for me. I remember at first I was like, dude, that film was funny. And then rewatching it just feels boring. You know,
Yeah.
just didn't feel connected to the character as much. Alrighty, I think it's starting to get a little bit tough for me to remember where I was in my list. So I'm just gonna go with my gut, and I'm going to go. I'm so sorry, I lost which movie I was gonna do.
No, you're good. I actually got something to say. I'm going off a Rotten Tomatoes list right now just to look
Yeah,
and see what movies there are because there's 38 of them. Why do they have Black Panther number one?
because it got nominated for Best Picture, man.
All right. That's crazy work. Do you remember the CGI on the train station scene where the suit is like warping off of them? That shit looked bad.
I kind of remember it now.
Blows my mind.
That movie was very glazed that year, if I remember right.
Yeah. I mean, it was good. Don't get me wrong. I really enjoy that movie. Super rewatchable too, but
Okay, I think I know what I'm putting here now. All right, I don't think you're gonna
takes
agree with this,
takes Black Panther.
but Fantastic. I'm going to take Fantastic Four here. Yeah, I had a feeling you wouldn't agree with this,
That
but
one
I'm pretty sure
hurts.
this is exactly where I put it on my list.
I have to veto this one. I got at least
Okay,
5 movies that would go below this.
I had a feeling you would. So, but it's just where exactly I had mine. All right, next for me then is Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Really cool idea. And I think some of the scenes of like going into quantum belt verses are like some of the best CGI scenes of any Marvel movie.
Yeah.
But the villain is a big problem for me in this movie. How do you cast somebody like Mads Mikkelsen, who's one of the better actors? I like a lot of his other stuff, but he's just so boring. It has like no emotional depth to him. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. 21, I'm going to go Spider-Man Far From Home. Yeah, I talked about it last week a little bit. I just didn't like how much, I mean, he's not in New York. The character is heavily centered around S.H.I.E.L.D. I love Mysterio as a villain. He was really good, but again, he didn't really have any powers. It's just heavily focused around Tony Stark's technology, which was kind of rough for me, especially with Mysterio being such a cool villain. Then again, set up No Way Home, so.
Yeah. I think it would have been really cool if it just wasn't as connected to Tony Stark as it is. Like
Yeah.
right after like the death and all that, I get that we're all still feeling that and like he should, but it should be like a emotional character rather than like the villain trying to come after him just because of Tony Stark, you know?
Yeah.
It's like you gotta separate him a little bit. Well, I guess here I'm gonna put Fantastic Four, which is where I was going to.
That's fine.
I like this movie. It's just not one of the movies that I was gonna come back to. Like, there's nothing about this movie that makes me be like, okay, yeah, I want to rewatch this. I think it was just a middle age, and then I think Galactus is like a cool character, quite a big character to do in a first film, and I just think another villain problem maybe for me is why I'm not as interested into it.
Yeah, I think you'll agree with me here, but tell me if I'm wrong. The middle fight scene where they go to Galactus is way cooler than the actual ending fight scene, in my opinion.
Yeah, the ending fight scene, I was just not it for it. I think Vanessa Kirby does really well. Maybe I'm just not totally bought into Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic just yet. We'll see with this next film.
All right. 19, I'm going to go Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Great movie. I think we're starting to get to that point where,
Yeah.
we're in good movies. It's just kind of nitpicking at this point. This one's a little bit slower, I'd say. And, compared to Guardians 3 and Guardians 1, I just have those much higher than this.
Yeah. Yeah, same here. I think the ending scene for Yondu is super emotional. Like all three films end super emotional. And I think Guardians of the Galaxy is really good at that. So, and it does good at the ending here. I think it's all leading up to the ending. Okay. Next for me, I think I gotta go Captain America, the first Avenger.
Damn it, I was taking that at 17.
Yeah. Captain America, the first Avenger. Good setup for the character, but damn, does it stick out in the trilogy.
I know it does. I really enjoyed it, though. Like, basically, you're doing a period piece, right? No other movies set this far back besides some flashbacks. So it's definitely interesting to make essentially a World War II movie in a superhero universe is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Now's where it starts getting hard. I think this might be crazy. I don't know how you feel about this one. I'm going to go ahead and take Deadpool and Wolverine.
I don't hate it. I think I had it literally like maybe earlier than this, honestly.
It was a fun movie. I think this one got a little rushed too with everything going on during COVID. A little bit of a cameo fest, but it was fun, and I hope to see how it ties into Doomsday and Secret Wars with the involvement of the TVA.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I haven't rewatched this since it first came out because I just don't know if this is a super rewatchable movie. Really cool, like first time watch. But,
yeah.
All right. Next one for me is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Yeah. So funny thing about this movie, first time I watched it in theaters, I fell asleep. In theaters. I've maybe just been way too tired, and I don't know why I went to go see a movie when I was that tired. Because then I went another week later, someone else wanted to go, and I loved it. And I was enthralled the whole time. So I was like, what happened the first time? Like I was just out like a light. But
all right. That's just terrible. I liked this movie a lot. I would have had it higher, but I'm going to go ahead and take Spider-Man Homecoming. I really enjoyed this movie, but obviously we're just at that place where we got to start listing it out here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is an incredibly rewatchable Spider-Man for me. So I really like it. Okay. I think we're going to do our first Avengers one here. Avengers Age of Ultron.
I'm high on that movie, dude. I think James Spader as Ultron carries that movie.
You can veto it if you want.
No, I'm okay.
I still think it's a good movie. Like we're just at that point where I think we're gonna disagree on some stuff. I think this is the range. I think we have the same top 5.
You ready to be pissed?
Yeah.
I'm taking Iron Man at 13.
think I have Iron Man at like number 8.
Okay, so it's not too far off.
No.
So great movie, obviously the beginning of Marvel. So I think it gets bumped up a little bit for that. But yeah, Tony Stark built this in a cave.
I mean, yeah, it's like the first movie of MCU, and the reason why it
Yeah.
even started. If it's not successful, MCU doesn't get started.
Yeah,
Robert Downey Jr. was born to play this role.
for sure.
So,
There's one
number
sitting
12.
here, and I'm wondering when it's going to go because I really like this movie, but
I don't know which one. Am I just missing one?
I don't think so. I think you maybe like it too.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know which one you're talking about. Yeah, I have no idea. Alrighty. Where am I looking? Dude, this is hard. This is really hard without the list at this point. I don't think you're gonna like this, but I can't think of any other one, and I'm just going based off of vibes at this point. Spider-Man Far No Way Home.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, yeah. Spider-Man No Way Home, for me, not as rewatchable of a film, but nothing beats like when it first came out and how crazy theaters would go
Yeah.
when all 3 Spider-Man.
All right. I'm going to do number 11 as Black Panther. Really good film. One of my favorites in the MCU and also super rewatchable. Yeah, Ryan Coogler's great, which also now means we're going to have 3 Avengers films in the top 10.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I personally think they are. With that being said, I think number 10 is Avengers.
Fair.
Yeah. Very iconic movie. Hits top 10, so like still really great. I think some people will want it probably higher, but I don't think so.
All right. Number 9, I'm going to take Guardians of the Galaxy.
I don't know, man. I don't know about that. Oh man, I have both my vetoes left too. I think I had Guardians of the Galaxy like top 4, so I'm gonna veto this.
All right, then I'll take Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
All right, I'll take that bite.
I think on my list I had them at 8 and 9.
I think I had them 4 and 5. So all right, which one am I going for next? Dude, there's one that we're looking at.
I don't think people are going to be happy. It's this high.
Yeah, people are not. I think people aren't going to be happy that 2 of these are this high.
Wait, 2?
Yeah.
Maybe I forgot one then. We'll see.
I'm going to go Thor Ragnarok here at 8.
Okay, I'm going to veto that. Dude, that movie's way too good.
All right. You're out of vetoes then.
Yeah, that's fine. I think our top 5 will be pretty close. Just take the one that we're talking about. I know you know it's there.
Committed to the bit. I'm taking Avengers Endgame.
Yeah, that's fine. I have this a little bit lower than most people anyway.
Out of all the Avengers, I think, or like the other one, the quality drops, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
But it fits the movie so well. This was such a hard idea to do that, like, I don't know how the people that made Electric State of Mind made this as well and were able to encapsulate all the characters and you cared about all of it and somehow make the movie work.
Yeah.
And you have to build to like the future. Like such a hard like thing to give to somebody and be like, make this work.
This kind of blows me, but I guess we'll have this above Avengers Endgame. I'll take Thunderbolts at 7.
And you know what? I'm committed to the bit. I'm vetoing it.
God, it's good. It's just not that good. Stop playing.
I'm committing to the bit at this point.
What do you want me to do here? None of these movies deserves to be no higher than this.
Wait, can I cancel a veto?
Yes, cancel it.
I cancel the veto. Thunderbolts in top 10, I think, is already like good enough.
We're just gonna veto it to number 1.
I mean, that was no, that was not the plan. But
really good movie. I don't think it deserves to be this high. I think it was just kind of forgotten about, but I do enjoy it, and I think it's a really good movie.
Oh, I didn't forget about it. This is a top 10 one for me. Easy. Yeah, I really like the film.
I don't know what this other one is you're talking about.
Oh, it's just because of recency bias.
Well, that's fine. No, it's up here.
That's the only reason why I said that. It's a recency bias, which probably is true, but I don't give a fuck.
All right, you're up.
What is even? Oh, yeah, Thor Ragnarok at this point.
Yeah, it's fine. All right, so we've got 5 movies here.
All right, so we got Infinity War, we got Guardians of the Galaxy, we got Spider-Man Brand New Day, Civil War, and Winter Soldier.
I'll say Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I'm gonna use my veto here. Actually, my last
All right, I'm taking brand new. Yeah, I'm taking Brand New Day.
one. Okay.
Could move up in
Yeah,
the future.
yeah. Could move up or move down depending on how we take this rewatch and time.
Yeah,
I doubt it moving down really that far,
yeah.
but yeah, we just talked in length about this film. All right, number 4. Wow, I used both vetoes on Guardians of the Galaxy. That's kind of crazy.
Defender, the Defender.
But number 4, I think here I'm gonna take Civil War.
Yeah, good pick.
Yeah, I really like Captain America: Civil War. This is like peak Marvel idea for me. Like time frame, so good. But yeah.
All right, Guardians of the Galaxy.
All right, it's all right. I moved it from like 8 to 3, and I feel like that's a pretty incredible achievement. Or 9 to 3, I think.
Yeah, it deserves to be there. It's so iconic, and for them to be able to bring these characters in that nobody gave a shit about,
Yeah,
pretty amazing.
yeah, I agree. All right, I'm not gonna shit the bed. Infinity War deserves to go here.
Nice.
Infinity War deserves to go at number 2 because, again, all the ideas leading up to this, you could drop the ball with a horrible script, but you make the villain like the center of the movie, and it makes the movie. It makes it so iconic for me, and really makes you like not care about Thanos, but understand him, where he's coming from, and then you're jumping through like different types of characters being together. I rewatched this one like so much, like compared to Endgame.
No, I agree. I think also the cultural impact. Like, I think my grandma figured out who Thanos was from this movie.
Yeah.
Like, it was just everywhere in the world. You couldn't escape it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 1, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. One of the best directed movies of all time, I'd say. Even though it's an MCU film, I think it's such a great like espionage spy movie outside of the MCU. It's just, yeah, done so well.
Yeah, this movie straight up gives the Russo brothers the rights to do what they do in Marvel from there. Because of that, they do Civil War. Because of this, they end up doing the Avengers movies and why they're going to do Doomsday. Yeah, such a well written movie. It gives Captain America in the first Avenger, he doesn't have the sauce. You know, I think that's the thing missing in first Avenger. And then second one, he just gives him the sauce. And then and from there, you're just like, yeah, Captain America, he's my favorite character in the MCU, I think, because of this movie.
Yeah, I really liked his sauce.
Yeah, got the sauce.
Sauce.
Awesome. Yeah, so this is probably going to be one of our longer episodes just because of this MCU ranking. I'm going to try to come up with like a cool graphic for this because I think it's gonna be hard to do because it's a lot of movies to put into like what I don't think a single graphic. It's going to be like a slideshow thing, but look out for that in the future. Thanks for listening this week, guys. If you listened to this far, see you guys next week.
Peace.